I already give the dogs meds, I guess.
Oh, what a good pet owner.
All right, welcome, we'll call the meeting to order. I know that Lauren said that she's not able to join us, but we do have a quorum. Our first order of business is to accept the minutes of the May 24th regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All right, those in favor? Aye. Thank you, Carrie. It was a long meeting and they were great comprehensive notes. Visitor comments and petitions. Is there anybody here for something that's not on the agenda? Okay, move that up. If you're here for the ferry service update, you're next.
Oh, that was quick. Thanks. I just wanted to stop by and try to be really brief. We had a ferry service advisory board meeting a couple weeks ago, which I actually physically attended for the first time in about 2 years. And we have a new director. His name is Bill Geary. And he is, he was there in Rockland, so I got to meet him that day. And he hadn't officially started as of the date of the advisory board meeting, but he started the next week. And I actually went and met with him for about 45 minutes the second day he was working too. That was for two reasons. One was to discuss the EMS issues that arose last fall that we're still kind of working on a bit. And the other was I received kind of a rough concept drawing of the new boat. Gilbert and Associates, which is an outfit in Braintree, Massachusetts, has been retained by the ferry service to come up with a plan for it. And I wanted to meet with him because it was a little bit on the disappointing side from my perspective or our perspective. Essentially, the boat's going to be 40 feet longer. The first drawings had it carrying exactly the same amount of vehicles as the Margaret Chase Smith. It did have an open deck, which was a big issue from the survey respondents. So that was a good thing. But what they had done was they have an emergency rescue boat, which is now up above in the Smith, and they had put it on the deck level, thereby depriving and losing 3 or 4 vehicle places. And the other thing was the seating was 54. And one of the reasons I wanted to meet with him early was I said, I don't know, we get ridership counts, but usually they're on a monthly basis. And so I didn't know if they kept them recorded on a daily basis. And I said, what you need to do is you need to get a passenger count on the first boat that's coming over to the island every morning, because that one is the busiest. And we have, you have to design to the max. And he did do that. He followed up with me because he said it's running about 100. So I'm glad I met with him. Just for background, he was born and grew up in Vinyl Haven, which is kind of neat. He's an MMA grad, Maritime Academy grad. He went into the Navy for 7 years. He was on board, I think, a cruiser or destroyer during the Kosovo campaign. And then he went to University of Maine and got a MBA. And he then worked for Target and TJ Maxx, or the parent company, TJ Maxx, as a regional director type guy. So I think this is the first time in recorded history that we've ever had anyone that's had anything to do with customer relations. So it can't be anything but good. And having met with him, he seems like a really good guy and a really nice guy. So I think that's a nice step in the right direction.
You feel like from the designs that you saw that he would take that feedback that you provided back and hopefully makes some changes will be.
Yes, and I also asked him, to keep us apprised of developments. And hopefully, the wheels grind somewhat slower than you would care for, but he knows that we would like to be in on this as they progress, rather than just put a red ribbon on it and give it to the town in 3 or 4 years. So.
Great.
Who did the design work?
Gilbert and Associates, it's a outfit in Braintree that does this stuff. They were retained while Mark Higgins was still running the operation. So, I mean, it's a nice looking boat, but I don't think it really optimizes. You know, they have to work within the constraints of the pens, because they don't want to rebuild the pens, but that would be a major expense too. So the idea is, the beam is only 1 foot wider than the Maggie. But so the idea is make it longer. Yeah. So, you know, I'm gonna try to stay on top of that, but, you know, we'll see where that goes. So.
Is the objective to have a single deck?
No, it's actually a two, the objective, based upon our survey, was to have seating at the deck level.
No.
For people who couldn't make it up to the second level, but to have seating on the second level as well. It's just rather limited. It's only on one side of the vessel right now. They're gonna have to rethink that. And I think they will. The next reason I wanted to come was to, I don't need a decision. Mechanicus, but I want to follow up on the name of the next boat, because they're kind of anxious to have a name, because it's better than calling it hull number 1029. You know, so we got this. Has everyone seen this? It's this was the boats for the new ferry name that Tina put.
I think it was 2 weeks ago. we handed
And
it.
so it's a combination of an email blast we sent out asking people to respond, and a box that was present at the town meeting. And so, I wish that the naming would generate as much interest as like a tariff increase, but it doesn't appear to have done that. So what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different suggestions. Of those, the George Mitchell, and we probably would want to include his middle initial, which I think is D. I'd have to look it up. Don't hold me to that, but got 17 votes. Coming in second was the Donald Shan with 3 votes. And, the Stanwood Hinkley came in with 2, and everything else got 1. So I wouldn't, you know, if you look at the overall population of the island, I wouldn't call this a landslide, but if you look at the people who voted, I'd say it was a landslide. And then the issue is like, how do you want to handle it? I mean, do you? Do you want me to go to an advisory board meeting and say, and the select board has voted in favor, you know, as to, the way it works is we make a recommendation, the town, quote unquote, makes a recommendation to the commissioner, of the Department of Transportation. Bruce Van Noe. And I think he'd approve it. That's the way it works, but we need to do something to make a recommendation, and I don't need an answer tonight. I don't want an answer tonight, but I just don't want this to like just go nowhere. So maybe you folks can talk about it or something and let me know how you care to proceed. So,
Yeah, can we put that on the next agenda?
You can.
Is that too soon?
No, but I mean,
What do you think?
No, and we can put it on the next agenda.
You think it's too soon?
No, I mean, we've gathered, unless
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
think-
gather
yeah.
additional information, then we might as well, we have the information we're going to have, and we
yeah,
should
I think so.
discuss it and make a decision.
Well, maybe put it on the next, instead of just ferry update,
Yeah.
naming those.
Yeah, that might bring some attention.
I think that would be helpful
Yeah.
to have just some, I know that some people wrote in and.
There was some interest.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next thing is I did bring up at the advisory board meeting, the fact that we're gonna have weekend terminal opening issues. I did go talk to Holly this week and she said the first weekend went okay without any. But the real problem is for those folks who can't buy tickets online right now. So if someone shows up with a motorhome or a truck or a trailer for the first boat and has been waiting there for 3 hours or whatever, you know, and or went and parked it in the night before and then they can't get on. I just, all I could do really was make the point that, you know, you might have some irritated clientele. I guess we did send a constant, what do you call
The announcement that
Constant
Holly
contact.
sent, we also.
it?
sent it
Shot it
out.
out, okay.
Mhm.
And I just wrote a kind of a very update article for Maggie for the Prospero Island News. So the point I made was, you know, you gotta get this information out and, you know, hopefully, I think they've got the horsepower to upgrade the ticketing system so that people can buy those kinds of tickets. They might have to go out and measure their vehicle or whatever, but they haven't done it yet. And they also, I think, have the horsepower to do reservations as well, but they haven't done that yet either. Hopefully, once Director Geary gets settled in and everything, he can get to work on that as well. But in the meantime, summer's nigh upon us, and
Or Holly, or whoever is down there.
I know it's not gonna be pretty, but
Well, thanks for your efforts, you know, in trying to figure out a long-term solution and in helping with the communication side of things.
yeah, well, I think that was really the only point I could make, but you know, you kind of sit there and everyone's sitting around like bumps on a log, but you know, whatever. So, and so that's the only other thing is now that you, a new board, I serve at your pleasure. And if anyone else is knocking down any walls to take my place.
What?
We would very much appreciate your continued service if you are willing. You have done a tremendous job and.
Thank you.
I have other committees that you could.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty busy right now, but, no, I actually, the other thing I'll just briefly mention is I've got an upcoming emergency, EMC meeting, the potential of having a fast response boat. And I've been talking to Maine Maritime about it, about maybe keeping the boat in Cathleen and maybe having the cadets at MMA doing the day-to-day maintenance on it and also manning it, so we're not stuck with personnel costs and hopefully not any major maintenance costs. I think the committee would recommend to avoid a lot of expensive maintenance costs, that the boat be a composite boat. But that gets a little tricky. I met with Bill Palmer and Henry McFerrin at DOT in Augusta about 3 weeks ago about this. And the cost, the upfront cost for a composite boat, and the only place that I know of that could build one is Front Street over in Belfast, would be 2.5 to 2.8 million. And I think that there's enough money floating around from the infrastructure bills and everything, that we might be able to thread that needle. The problem that Bill Palmer pointed out, and I haven't figured it out yet, is that whatever boat gets built probably has to be put out to public bid. And so the issue is going to be is, can you narrow it down to a composite boat? Well, that's one of the issues. There's a lot of issues here. And, I just don't know. And then but I'll try to figure something out along those lines, or talk to someone who's smarter than I am. But, MMA actually has this type of, the crewing requirements and everything in their curriculum, but they don't have a vote. So I think that they would be happy to do it, actually, which would be fabulous if they weren't, you know.
Yeah, it'd be great if there was that kind of alignment.
Yeah, and then talking with Fred, he's, you know, it would take a while for the boat to get from Castine to Grindle Point, if that's where they have to go. Maybe Seal Harbor's another alternative. But Fred keeps reiterating to me that he's not as concerned about the fast response as the reliability. So, you know, maybe, anyway, we have a meeting on the 14th. Hopefully a live one, and we'll talk about it then and see if we can come up with any
Great.
whiz bang ideas, and that's all.
Perfect, thanks, Joan.
Thank
Did
you.
the DOT say they were gonna pay for this boat?
Well, they haven't promised to pay $3 million or anything, but they said what they would like to do. Here's the deal on this, and we'd have to thread this needle too. I think what they would like to do is have a capital expense to pay for the boat in return for not being responsible for the emergency transport of patients. I think the best result for the town would be buy us the boat, get MMA to man it and maintain it. That would be our first option at any given time, subject to Coast Guard regulations and approval of the individual, you know, that all that stuff we're supposed to do, approval of the run and all that kind of thing. But have the ferry maintain the ferry as a potential backup if necessary. See if they'd agree to that. But I think what they don't like, as a practical matter, is, you know, they can't guarantee because of weather or whatever other, who knows what bumps on the road might exist, but that boat will take someone over there. They don't like that optic, because, you know, we've dodged a lot of bullets here, and Fred's done a great job doing all of that. But, you know, the potential downside could be not very great. I mean, so if we, but that's a negotiating point. Say what? But it's something, you raise a good point. I mean, I think they'd like to walk away from it, and I think we'd like them not to
Right.
walk quite that far away.
Yeah.
Little string.
Yes.
Where did the board discuss or take any action on a public suggestion of passenger that walks on the boat shelter? Did that idea go anywhere?
You mean the one on the mainland by the lighthouse?
Well, yeah, this side or the Lincolnville side, there was talk about some kind of shelter for walk-ons to get out of the weather. I didn't know where that ended up. Is that still
Yeah, we
up in
did,
the air?
we did talk about it.
We did talk about it. Laney, is it Laney? One of the ferry deckhands is the one that emailed
Yes.
about that, yeah. And we all agreed, we all agreed, Lonnie? I don't know, they all agreed that it was a good idea, but then it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Something in the wind and.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that we talked about, and I don't know, if Janet, you and John it seems as though one of the, reasons why that feels like a need now is because of the change in ticketing system and having people wait outside longer, as maybe a conversation that we could have with the, with Bill Geary now, just as recognizing that it sort of is causing us to think about what new infrastructure might be required and see if there's a, procedural solution to that,
Okay,
as well.
And would that be alleviated if they hire someone? Is this the reason because they're down a employee?
Well, they're down a number of employees.
But one lived on this side.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the key issue to the late terminal opening, is the inability to find someone who lives on the island to open that terminal up. You know,
Lainey had brought this to us before that even had surfaced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, this is more of people having to line up to get their ticket scanned rather than being able to wait in their cars and walk on the boat, in inclement weather, they can wait in their cars and then walk on the boat, to not be standing in the rain, so, or.
yeah, I think it may just be an issue of trying to fine tune things. I think if they could establish kind of a rational way to have the scanning done. The problem is, it's kind of like the seating situation. You gotta play to the max, and if you're over on. It seems to work over on the Lincolnville side. It'd be the 3:30 and the 4:30 boats on our side that are probably pretty busy with the walk-ons.
because
And
the terminal is closer to the boat.
that's part of it, yeah, and so you gotta figure out a way that whoever's scanning the tickets, well, whoever needs the ticket scan knows where to go. And in some, rational way, and that the scanner knows that they're getting everybody done.
The Lincolnville side is easier though, because they have a natural funnel, because either you're standing in the terminal on the porch or in the lower parking lot,
Right.
So then no matter how you funnel up, as long as if the ticket agent's standing on the left-hand side scanning cars, she knows the guy in the gray jacket has stopped there, and then they have a natural start and stop position. With ours being an open parking lot, there's no sidewalk, there's no designated spot, there's no anything, and so then you have all of our 30+ people from the school that get dumped off of a school bus, then you have all of the workers from the 3, the 4, for the 3:30 and the 4:30, and it is a really cool looking swarm when they all come in, because there's no direction, period.
Right.
And so the Lincolnville side, I think, is more of a common sense that they can hold, because there's no place for them to walk up, and then after they are scanned, they can go down onto the dock and there's the walkway coming up. But if we had something that was more designated like that, I think even that would be helpful. But we don't have a pathway or a walkway.
I mean, I
there's
know
not a
that there has been sort of cones and trying to set up a bit of a staging area by the lighthouse,
Mhm.
recently, but I think it's worth, before we talk about building new buildings down there, sort of having a conversation with the ferry service about kind of procedurally, if there is a way to do that without, kind of additional construction.
Well, I think you wanna come up with a system that will work before you spend any money building anything,
Right,
because if you put up just a little kiosk
it's something else. that's
all
gonna-
by itself, I mean, it's nice to get out of the snow, but, you still gotta get scanned, and then you'd rather be in your car and la-di-da-di-da, so.
Yeah, but a lot of those guys come down in trucks. I mean, there's more than one person in the truck. Like the bed is full of people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So they're not gonna get back in there, whatever.
I'm happy to bring it up with Bill. It would probably require some back and forth between all of us. And think about, I'll welcome anyone's thoughts. But I think what we need to do is have, it works in Lincolnville because it's all single file. If you get out of single file, you're gonna get run over.
That's very true.
Well, there you go, there's the.
Well, safety first. So, it would probably require something more than just a couple of orange cones. I mean, it would like a walkway or a fence or something like that. But I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, anyway, I'm happy to talk to him and then we can maybe
Great.
come up with.
And, I'm happy, I don't know if, you've seen Lonnie's email, or if that's something, Janet, that you can forward to him, just.
I'm sure,
And
but I
it came
can,
from a ferry service.
I saw it,
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
I saw it.
Yep.
And, you know, but you wanna make this work.
Right.
Again, you just don't wanna throw a kiosk up that people can huddle under
You're here.
and then run for the boat.
You're here. Great.
With the whole group that walk on to the ferry, both sides. It's the challenge to make people change to a new pattern and thought. I nicknamed that whole big mob the cattle. And it looks like it's just a big wave, but, it's getting everybody to learn that this is the way it's gonna go. It takes time. Of course, there's new people that come along and haven't figured out the rules.
Right.
But the ferry worker group do real good at trying to keep everybody safe. I give them that much credit.
Yeah.
They do a good job.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Great,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks, guys.
Thank you, John.
All right, next up, Seal Will Rise update. I don't have anything. Our next meeting is next week. Any questions about Seal Will Rise? Municipal building project update. I didn't receive anything from Lauren. I don't know if you have anything.
what's
It's to
today?
do with upgrades.
Wednesday, Friday,
So-
we're meeting the construction manager, in Callahan, Christine Kendrick. She's coming with a worker, Steve Black and Mark Willett will be here,
Might have to
and the
change.
committee, to come, and they'll look at the sites, both sites, and, so that's. I'm not sure,
Great.
Friday.
Friday.
Here. They're coming on the 10th, so either they'll be here at 10:30, or they might go out and look at sites first, and then at the 11.
Cool. Great. Okay, upcoming meetings and subcommittee reports. The planning board meets on June 26th. Town managers report.
What I sent you is the agenda for today, the minutes from the May 24th meeting. Updated as of whatever day, I think this, appointment list changes every other day. But that to go over tonight, and all the ex officios are in red, so you can hopefully see where you were, and if you wanna stay there or wanna go someplace else. And under new business, you'll have a request from the Friends of the Fire Department about recognizing, and that's probably why Mert's here also. The new public safety garage, they mentioned a plaque in their honor in George, but there may be other ideas, so. I've given you the Maine Community Foundation statement for the first 6 months. That's the health center endowment. It's 1.475 million. You have the Bar Harbor Capital Reserve sub-accounting ending May 31st. Minutes of the May 11th Lighthouse Restoration Committee minutes. And I will point out that I think it started today, the L is being shingled down there. So, they were waiting for weather, and then I understood they did start, so I don't know what they did in the rain, so. You got in here from Amanda O'Bannon. She's been working frantically on this save the date for the Dark Harbor Shop 50th anniversary. And she'll work with Fred and Bert about that, about traffic and things.
Okay.
And we've tentatively set, I said it with Melissa just today, August 10th for the summer informational meeting at the Connecticut Center. I think you mentioned the 3rd was open, but it was also a school board meeting night, and I didn't want to keep it at school. And
Is that in the packet?
this might not have been, because it's not set yet, 'cause I don't have, I mean, we've got plenty of time to go over, updates and whatever. And as you mentioned, I just received this today, from the DOT, about this. They wanted immediate response requested for information about what's down at Grindle Point. They're working on gathering data. And I did speak with this gentleman, Derek Carlton. So and he did say the project is scheduled for construction for the 2025 construction season, so it's really out there. But I said all that we basically have there, we have a pier and a wrench and not, not much there, so.
Did
They
they
will,
give you an outline of things that they were interested in terms of what we had and what we don't?
no, they just asked me to fill in what we have. I mean, this is just preliminary, but I just said, that's very positive, so great. And I've given you warrant number 25. And that's it.
Great.
Do you have any questions or about anything that you don't see, or wanted to see? Oh, and Melissa and I, was that on the agenda? to talk about?
Next up is the correspondence you went over. I think the letter that we all received is on the agenda under new business. So yeah, next up is the transfer station demo bins.
We just got together about 15 minutes this afternoon and kind of talked over, a few things. I just divided up my, pile of information. And so Melissa, you may want to speak to it, but I'm going to check with the town's attorney and ask her about drafting some amendments to the ordinance, requiring
The manual.
the manual and the ordinance, about restricting our transfer station to commercial,
Non-commercial use.
restricting it on commercial.
Yeah.
I thought it was non.
So that there would be no commercial use there at all.
Well, this is just the first phase. I know I have a lot
Kind
of,
of the case by case like that. And then we also need to work off the definition of what we're going to call commercial. Basically, what I'm looking for is anything that is going to involve a remodel, anything that you need to get a permit for from the planning board, like the remodels, demolitions, new builds, things like that, encouraging them and telling them that they need to provide their own demo bin for it. Demo bins are already full again, and they opened yesterday, or day before, Monday. And so that way we can encourage the residents that need to use the demo bins to have it open for them and available for them, and the contractors and commercial use will have their own on their sites.
Are they charged to dump in there? In the
Not a lot.
contractors?
the demo?
Oh, yeah.
To dump into the demo bins, yes,
Yeah.
but it's at the
What
same
kind of-
cost as,
What kind of money are we talking?
Oh, the fees are, and they need to be upgraded.
and so, but we were gonna look at redoing the fees after we could figure out if we can not prohibit commercial, but prioritize residential.
You're talking about commercial off island or commercial on island or both?
Both.
It's gonna be a sticky
That'd be a
wicket.
hard sell.
I know.
Well, I thought on the off island, commercial maybe, but the on island companies,
I know it's hard. I don't know if you can do that.
that could.
I can hear Dave saying, no, you can't. But to be fair to everybody, and
I mean, I think it's worth, yeah, I think if you wanna come up with the recommendation, I mean, changing the ordinance is it's definitely a multi-step process.
Right.
So,
That's what we were looking at with the attorneys. We have the letters from them. They recommended changing it in the manual. One of the big things is that when you have the giant roll truck trailers that are going up there, and now it is 50% full with one truck that has came up because they essentially have a dumpster truck. A dumpster on the back of their truck and they're filling it. No longer allowing dumping trailers and trucks, that you have to hand load it. And then the commercial, restricting the commercial use.
So are we hauling off more frequently than we anticipated?
Well, I don't know if we ever anticipated. how
Well,
much
we have a
would-
budget.
Yes, but I mean, you're making money also, but it's not enough money to cover. So I mean, that would be one way of, you know, increasing the rates so that they're.
One of the
high.
things, Janet found out that Vinyl Haven charges commercial use $100 to dump. And like,
Per load.
100.
that's what I said,
Oh, I thought you said 800. I'm
No,
sitting right down here.
$100 per load.
I heard 800.
Okay,
I heard
good.
800.
All right.
I got A, I'm used to.
Oh,
I wouldn't used to.
It's my accent, right? So it's my accent,
I
so
didn't know by feet.
maybe,
You-
no, you just have to work with me daily. It took him a while too, it really did. I did say 100,
Okay,
and so, but they charge $100 per load for them to go up and dump it, which is considerably more than what we would. But that's in their effort at this time to try to discourage commercial dumping in their
Right.
usage.
Yeah.
And that might be something that we look at. Going forward, if we can't change the ordinances, if the lawyers say that no. You know, you have to allow on island and off island equally. All of that of, okay, well then on island and off island commercial businesses that are coming up. Again, are now $100 per load.
Right, no, I mean, I would think, it certainly should, I mean, we have a dumpster, I feel like we should certainly monetize the use of the dumpsters in a way that makes it more economically efficient for businesses to have their own dumpsters rather than, subsidize the cost, you know, for businesses taking that on.
But
I don't
don't
think-
the contractors just pass this cost along to their,
Potentially they could. I can't say that that's what all of them will do, but yeah. That would be the, probably part of the expected.
there's no muscle in it,
More.
because they're just gonna pass the cost on to the people that go in. So if
He
you wanna
doesn't
charge them
push
$1,000,
back.
they'll just pass it on.
Right.
So.
Which
It does
could be
affect
the
them.
same for, because they could potentially pass the cost of the dumpster on to the homeowner too. As part of their project.
Okay.
And so either way, but it's the commercial aspect of it that's needing to be more addressed. And it's not just to make to try to get back anything that we're using with the, services that come out. But also it's a severely inconveniencing, you know, year-round residents and stuff like that. They're just trying to maintain their livelihood. And if they're unable to use them because 3 trucks ahead of them were there, it's not fair to them.
I know, I think we need more people to be on a study.
Yeah,
video.
that was one of the things that we're talking about is, we're gonna wait to hear back from the attorney and then have a open meeting workshop I would like to host. Let the contractors come in and talk to any of us that I would appreciate it if more of you were there because I get loud. And so, but one day in the evening, like, let's hear from other people's point of view of who's being affected by it, how is it gonna work, what could we do? I'm open to more things than just jacking up prices or making them get their own dumpsters. I'm just a little lost as to what.
Yep.
But then from there, then we can go through and the rest of the fees and different things that we talked about previously have already gone into effect. That way we can go ahead and merge this into it and be done with the project. It'll make me so happy. I just like to have this.
So the next step, you guys want to figure out a time to have a.
After we receive from the attorney, like an amendment
Okay,
suggestion to the ordinance and the
Okay.
manual and see. And find some more people to go over this and talk about this, and not just at a workshop, I think we need.
right, I guess that's my question. Well, I mean, I feel like once we have a revised ordinance, then it feels like we're going through kind of, we need to have a formal workshop and all of that, but what I thought I heard was you wanted something less formal than that at first
Mhm.
to gather information.
I would.
Yes,
And so, but I don't want to pull a whole bunch of people into a room if the attorney's gonna come back and tell me, no, we will not add, we cannot add this to the manual and the ordinance. Because then it's pulling a lot of people's time for no good reason. So I want her to tell me that, yes, we can first. And then I would like to propose a date of an evening workshop of how would this, you know, now that we know that we can alter this ordinance, reflecting the difference between a island resident and a commercial business, what do we want it to do? You know, and then get more of the town feedback and contractors and everything, you know, get everybody together. Okay, so it's kind of like 2 steps before making an ordinance. I just want somebody to tell me that, yeah, it can be done, because so far I've had 2 that went, no. So. All right. So next meeting, I'll come up with a time, with a date and an answer. Great. So
So
circle
we
me
have
back
the
around.
answer back from the attorney.
Like 2 weeks. Yeah.
Is it?
I know. But we're busy.
Anything else on demo bins?
Love
Okay, review and update ex officios on committees.
them. It's gonna be fun.
Right, I also am just,
Awesome.
I am cognizant of the fact that Mert is here. Mert, do you,
Oh.
would you like us to go out of order to address the request from the Friends of the Fire Department?
That's totally up to you.
We are happy to do so, if you, assuming that's what you, we are happy to have you here for the whole meeting, but I also am a little bit worried that the going through committee by committee may not be what you wanna do on a Wednesday night, so.
I'm always doing something.
Right,
So I'm just here to fill in any blanks or ask questions. I know the Friends, committee had sent you a letter in regards to, in some form or way, to honor my father's passing with some kind of a plaque or a name or something. You know, I'll just see what you guys thoughts were.
could we, somebody make a motion to go out of order? Second. Those in favor? Aye, great. Yeah, I
I
thought,
really like this.
yeah, the request, thank you to, the Friends for putting this together. I think it's a great idea. Janet, I know you had, is there something that you would like to add to this?
When I read that, I just thought about, it would be nice to have a name on the building, you know, George's name. A plaque would be great still inside, and I know Mert just sent this to me today for a sample.
Yeah, I found an example of a station in Maine. This one is in Belgrade. There must be a substation. And this is an example where they dedicated, probably, I'm assuming, a past firefighter or a member of their department. They did it this way. That's one example, putting a plaque on the building is another example. There's all kinds of different ideas, but either way, it would be nice to honor my father's name. So I don't think a decision needs to be tonight, but it's just toss the idea around and I can help guide you maybe the fire department might suggest. So that's, I just thought I'd give you an example of something
I think,
that's been there. It's happened in Camden Fire Station. Bob Austin was chief for many years, and they got his name on the station there, so it's not unusual.
Right.
I would entertain a motion to, honor George Durkee at the new facility, perhaps with having the fire department make a recommendation with the municipal building facility about the best way to prominently display that honor on the new building. Or Somebody can make that move as amended or amended.
So moved.
Great. Okay, any discussion?
I agree.
I'm with Pete, absolutely. The one thing that I would like to say is I don't think that it would even be out of line to name the new fire building after your father and put the plaque down here and on this building. That way it's in two different locations. This is the building that he served out of and different things also. And have the other one named, because then it's not just secluded to Up Island. And if people are driving by Up Island, you see the name, and then, but with it being more of the town center, I would also think that that would be appropriate and maybe something to float by the friends if they like that idea.
Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Just splitting thoughts. My father, as chief, never worked out of this station.
No,
But he did have the original station at Turkey's.
okay,
Okay, so I still like your idea as something here at the station, plaque wise, that reminded anybody that come to this station that he was chief for 26 years, served,
Right.
and that is nice. And then we could look at a named of the building, and we'll definitely come to you for final. This looks good. This sounds good. But that's an added idea. Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. All right, with that, motion to go back into order?
so moved.
All right, all in favor? Aye. Ex officios. With Lauren not here, did you hear any feedback from her
No, I
about?
did not.
Okay,
Well, we can put her on. the
So she gets
right,
everything.
absolutely. Well, then presumably she's okay with staying on the library
Mhm.
committee. The airport is Janet, cemetery, we do not have an ex officio for.
I don't think we need one. I mean, it's only if it was written there, then it was, required.
Okay.
Or suggested anyway.
Control is Janet. How about Grinnell Point parking? You feel okay about the way that is currently?
Yeah, they never meet.
Okay, I do think that, I mean, it's becoming an increasing problem down there, and I think it's something that, we should take up. Not tonight, but at a meeting over the, next year, we've gotta talk about what our options are down
Yeah,
there.
and you certainly could, put someone on it right now, just to be ready, set, and go. Pete.
If you look up all four of us.
Heck of a board. Heck of a committee.
It'd be a lot of fun, Pete.
It looks like it would be. Sure. Just so we can be ready to roll, because I agree, I think before we worry about a shelter for passengers, I think we got much more problem on our hands that we need to tackle quicker, which would be that. So, sure, put me on there and we'll be ready to rock when the time comes.
Bill, are you willing to continue on groundwater?
Yes.
Harbor Committee. This was Gabe. Anyone interested in taking up Harbor Committee?
It's a 3-year term, right? So I'm on, I can't do that.
Yeah, you can.
We will do this every year, so
Well, it is, he's correct, it is a 3-year term, but you could certainly do it for 1 year and then.
Well, yeah, do we have dates on when these committees meet?
No, the
Just tell me
meeting
that's when the
dates are
schedule starts
on,
to get hard.
would you have a select schedule, I think?
I've got the selectmen schedule, yeah.
It does also show Harbor Committee on it, and they meet,
Oh, yes,
is
it
it 4
does.
times a year?
Oh, 4 times a year.
Yeah,
so
Harbor, next one is July 20.
I'll
Sure.
start with that, or I'll
Yeah.
give you one of mine. Like, you're not gonna get out.
No, of
and then
course not.
sure.
No, of
But-
course not. I just,
no, if
I
there was
think of
one
things that I'm more like geared for, but.
Right.
I don't think there is.
If there's one that I'm on that you like more, I would trade you that one for that one.
I'm not playing poker.
Right.
I'm fine with playing poker. It's just, I can't take on too many more because of
Right.
all of the things. And so if there is
Yeah,
something
no,
else that you were
I
more
will
interested
help
in.
Any place I can gather makes sense, so that's
I was gonna
okay.
say, similarly, I would be willing to trade a rec committee for.
I'll give you 2 grab bars for.
See, look who laughed at me playing poker before and now.
Okay, so you would like to, you're opting for Harbor?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm July.
He decided not to hit.
Like I would say. All right. health
It's
and-
risky, though.
Good, right.
Like that, you know?
Phil, you good on Lighthouse still?
Yep.
Thank you.
You're doing well in my house also, thank you.
Planning board is good, Shellfish Committee,
What did they do?
Janet. What's that?
What did they do?
The Shellfish?
Yeah.
It's actually
License?
They, and John Kerr is on there now, which is very good. I mean, they might, work on, reseeding. They do have to fill out, an annual report to the state, how many licenses were sold, and then they make a recommendation that the town clerk then fills out the form and sends it to the state.
Because that's the one that the harbor committee is gonna start working with, according to Ken, right, about the, appointments. Right? Our,
aquaculture.
thank you. I can't say that
Oh,
word to save my life.
Is he having shellfish work with?
I thought it was
I think
shellfish.
that's what he was proposing.
Yeah.
It's not something that's been formally approved.
But there's no, select board member on there, anyway, on shellfish.
One is done. Recreation Committee, is anyone else interested in?
Come on, going once.
How often do you guys meet?
I have not been to a meeting recently.
I have a question.
They do meet, but I have not been able to attend.
Gotcha.
How come there's no ex officio on the, health advisory board?
It just never has been.
Good question.
Not in their bylaws, I mean, it does. Their memberships are there.
Well, it's not an independent committee. The town committee, right?
Town committee, but they've never had an ex officio, other than me and the PA, the providers are on there.
Hmm.
That's, I didn't create this.
No, it's not a criticism, just,
No, it's just I think what I'm hearing is more of the consistency, there's inconsistency between
Yeah.
the committees.
Well, shellfish is no ex officio, I mean, there's. Did you go
It is
through,
planning board.
did you go?
Planning board CEO, or the,
CEO.
But it's not.
But it's
Not
not,
select board member,
it's
yeah.
just like the health center.
I guess I wonder if it is worth, I mean, I think we can go through and perhaps keep it as it is for now, but I think it might be worth looking into, what we have on, in the town books, just about kind of the definitions of committees and ex officios, just to make sure that, review it for consistency. Does that feel comfortable to you, Phil?
yeah. It's fine.
Okay, I will stay on rec committee. Energy committee, Melissa?
any takers? I'm smart.
All right.
I'll keep them. I like those guys.
Broadband.
Yeah.
Lauren, pesticide safety. The Economic Sustainability Corporation, that one is one where we will need. Is anyone interested in?
Does that take a lot of time?
No, and they, again, they don't meet that often, 4 or 5 times a year, probably.
All right, I'll take that if you're so inclined.
They meet, I'll get you set up for the next meeting, because it is coming up.
Thank you, Bill. I'd like to stay on sea level rise.
Are you sure? Good.
That help on the transportation, safe roads. Housing and municipal building. Good.
Does anybody want on the housing committee?
I was just gonna ask Peter, are you interested in being on the economic sustainability committee?
I would be, I am.
All right, then you-
However, I know I have close ties to a lot of people who receive money from them. And I would wonder if that would impact my ability to, you know, would I have to stay away from more votes or, because I would be interested in it.
Well, you don't vote, as an ex officio, you just
Oh,
observe, you can't be a member of the committee.
Yeah,
You just
I mean,
make,
I would be interested in it, but I don't want to, give it to me, or give me something because, you know what I mean? If you'd like it, go for it, I'm not.
It's not that, I just thought that maybe you as a younger person, you might wanna be
Yeah, I mean,
involved with the sustainability of the
yeah,
island.
I'm not opposed to it at all. But, yeah, I'd happily take it.
All right,
I
good.
don't want to step on it.
Cheers.
Okay. One less concern for you.
Thanks to you both.
that makes me sorry, because I was trying to look at something that I'd pick up for you.
And the budget committee, did anybody, the Waldo County Budget Committee, did anybody?
So my understanding from the email that we received from her was it was an election process that we could nominate
Probably did a
someone, that we could nominate someone, and then it would have to be kind of a Waldo County vote that happened on their time frame, not on ours.
They're gonna give whoever you nominate a vote for Islesboro, I mean, that. Cause Dave had been on there, and all you do is you decide amongst yourself who would want to do it, and then there will be a ballot will come, I'll let them know, someone does wanna do it. And then the ballot will come, and then you'll check it, and as I said, Barbara Arsenault said it averages 3 or 4 meetings in the fall, usually they are on a Friday night and occasionally Saturday mornings. And run from the latter part of October into early December.
Are we able to Zoom the meetings? Maybe that's why
Right.
we threw Gabe up there, is because he had to vote.
She didn't mention that, but I can ask if that's a possibility.
Well, I didn't hear all. Question.
When it is.
Oh.
Because it's in the fall, from October till, Friday night, Saturday mornings. And I said, are we able to Zoom the meetings? Because otherwise there's a good chance that I won't be able to make it, because I don't have a vote. And
Deer
even if I,
hunting season 2.
Huh?
Deer hunting season 2.
well, that's another.
But I'll look into that, but if no one does it, no one does it, you know.
Right, because if it's not, if it was a Friday evening, then I could quicksilver it, but Saturday mornings I can't, because then I don't have a car on the other side.
A house,
Huh?
or a house to stay in overnight.
Right.
Of course, we could always appoint Lauren, she's not here.
Well, it looks like, it won't be until July, end of July, early
Yeah,
August, before they
yeah, we
call
got
for
time.
that ballot, so, I think maybe we table that one until we.
Harry.
I have to learn how to sail my boat first.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
Well, go get you off the island a little bit.
Anything else on committees? Great, we have done the fire department, any other business? Hearing none, approve the warrant for FY 23 number 25, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Great, next up is appointments. I guess, do you have these sort of pre-filled out or?
I think they're
Oh,
blank,
to write in,
and I can fill them in.
okay, so just to summarize, we have Pete is on the harbor committee and on the economic sustainability committee. And we probably don't have a thing for this for the Grendo Point parking.
Right, if you, I forget, did you say you wanted to be?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I did, so we did roll.
All right, so we'll type an appointment for you for the next. And pretty soon, I think I can write it without looking.
That's amazing.
Pretty soon. We'll be going through, we'll be notifying all these people, excluding the board. Do they want to continue on these committees and, might not do you until then, but. they're not-
Just approve it as a slate.
like a slate.
Here's the green binder if you'd like to.
We've got,
That's matches this.
Yes.
you have two committee members,
You can understand here.
you have two committee members for the energy committee
Yes,
that need to be voted on.
and Monica Mullins and Harriet Baring for the energy committee. They would like to move to appoint both the select board members, seats just discussed, and the energy committee folks.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Those in favor?
Aye. Welcome to your new committee.
Okay, chair comments, no comments for me tonight. Isn't there? Melissa?
Alfred Track did very well. Jacob Zolman placed first in 3 of his events for the middle school bus line championship. Logan Burns placed 7th in the high school state triple jump competition and competed in 100-meter and long jump. I'm a good coach, I can remember what they do. Field day for the school is the 13th. Half day is the last day of school, the 14th. It is exactly 1 week from today minus 4 hours, not that anyone is counting. I'm sorry, Phil, what'd you say?
That's the old, actually, it's something else.
It does not work.
I did.
I don't.
Any other comments from you, Phil?
No, no comments.
All right, Pete, you get the last word.
No, just to congratulate our graduates, who graduated last weekend. It's a big day. Fun.
How many?
I'm also excited for the last day of the school year.
Oh, yeah.
Very ready to read it. How many were there? 7? Yeah, I should know that. I was their advisor. 7.
Oh,
Didn't you count them in Costa Rica?
6 in Costa Rica. 6 in Costa Rica. We did 8 total.
Right.
Junior class option, I forgot.
Junior class auction is this Saturday, starting at 5:30 with a silent auction and a live at 7. Made over.
Be happy.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right, have a good night.
okay, can I ask you a question before you skip away about this, email from Joan
You missed much of it.
Walton,
I did too.
and I sent that to you.
Yeah.
I said, what